Hello student, welcome to our physics discussion, that is physics in a smart way. In last some videos we are talking of vectors especially because our discussion on scalars was very brief and we are continuing with vectors. And till date we have completed two methods. Those were analytical methods for vectorization. One is parallelogram law or cosine law, second is component method. At this juncture, I'd like to put two ideas. In fact, they form, you may say, tricks or tips up your sleeve, where we'll be having some conclusion on some specific cases, and wherever or whenever we see them, we can directly use them. And the thing is that they occur often. They come often, and every time you cannot go to the analysis and have the things ready because we know time is a constraint. So you call them as the part of the theory or some trick or problem. It's all the same, but let me present the cases. We consider it as a question. Resultant of two vectors which are equal in magnitude and angle theta in between them. So we are interested in finding the resultant of two vectors, maybe A, B, or C, or P, or Q, whatever it is, they are both in magnitude. Okay, but the vectors are not same because they have got some angle between them. So that means they are in different directions. By magnitude, they are equal, but they are not equal vectors. We are interested in finding the resultant of them. So let us go for a diagram where we got two vectors of equal magnitude. Let us say the first vector, we can brand it as A1 vector. Second is A2 vector. We have to give an arrowhead and angle theta between them. We are interested for their resultant. And as it is, A1 magnitude is equal to A2 magnitude, let us say we consider that as A. So each of them has got a magnitude A. If I am interested to find the resultant, I am taking your side and solving them. So considering a student solving it, solution using parallelogram method or cosine rule. Parallelogram rule, we know the formula says R equal to square root of first vector square, second vector magnitude square plus 2 magnitude of the first into magnitude of the second into your cosine of the angle between them. So that is cos theta. If you extend it, then that becomes your square root of A1 has got a magnitude A, that is A square plus 2. A1 is of magnitude A, A2 is of magnitude A, so that becomes A square into cos theta. So that becomes root over of, we know A square and A square, the first two terms, that is 2A square plus 2A square cos theta. So that will be equal to, we can clearly see now our expression within the square root are 2, the number of expressions, and they got 2A square common. So when I take 2A square, but taking it out of the square root sign, we got root over of 1 plus cos theta. 1 plus cos theta. Okay, so that seems to the answer. If you want to extend it further, simplify this further, you have to go for trigonometric tricks. Let us say I consider an angle alpha, which is half of theta. So obviously theta equal to 2 alpha. So now your expression, you might be wondering why so. You will be clear automatically. So root 2 into A, within the square root sign, we got 1 plus cos 2 alpha. There is a formula that says 1 plus cos 2 alpha is 2 cos square alpha. That you can find in your school level books. I don't know whether they are or not. In my time, it was there. So the 1 plus cos 2 alpha, things are very much convenient. If you remember the value of 1 plus cos 2 alpha, that is 2 cos square alpha, 1 minus cos 2 alpha, that is 2 sin square alpha, they are convenient. Okay, so 2 cos square alpha. Now removing the square root sign, we get that is root 2 into A. Again, we get another root 2 into cos alpha. So that is equal to root 2 and root 2, they become 2. So 2A into cos alpha. If I, I'm sorry, that is cos alpha, not cos theta. One thing I am missing here is another root 2 here. Okay, so into cos alpha. Okay, but if I revert the value in terms of theta, that is 2 cos theta by 2. Okay, that seems the final answer, and 2A into cos theta by 2. So that gives us twice into magnitude of one of them into cos of half of angle between them. Okay, but as you see, you have to go through 3 or 4 steps and all those things, and still one issue is left unresolved. We found the magnitude of the resultant, but so far as the direction of resultant is there, we have to work on. We don't go in that way. We stop here. There are some other ways which can quickly help us in finding the direction. This process seems to be a bit tedious one. So that is solution 1 using parallelogram rule or using cosine rule. Okay, so once it is there, allow me to remove the solution and we try to see it in a different way, that too using our component method, rectangular component method. Let me clear up the space and we shall be considering that. So, as you know, rectangular component that involves breaking down the individual vectors, initial vectors into parts, and then combining the parts, all those things. But first of all, let us go for a diagram. Sorry. Rectangular component methods involves the use of your x and y coordinates. So thereby marking them is imperative. We go for that. Okay. So that is the origin. This is x-axis. That is y-axis. The vectors are there. We consider one of them as A1. Second is A2. Of course, they are having the same magnitude, that is A. But the way I have placed them in such a way that x-axis becomes the bisector of the angle between them. You may be wondering why so. I will be reluctant to explain now, but we know we have got every right to consider that x and y axis, only condition that is to be maintained between them, that angle between x and y will be 90 degrees. They will become they have to become independent directions. Other than that, in which way we should be considering our x and correspondingly y, there is no hard and fast rule at all. There is no such rule. Okay. So I have considered x-axis in such a way that that is bisecting the angle between them. And I got a right to do so. If I find something useful, then nobody can complain. So that is the case. Why I am a bit reluctant to I won't like to reveal. Okay. So as you know, so far as rectangular component method is there, we got two vectors, x and y axis. A1 makes an angle theta by 2, and that is in the first quadrant. A2 makes an angle theta by 2, that is in the second quadrant. So our next step is to break down A1 and A2 into their components. So if we break down A1 and A2 into their components, so A1 will be having a x component which is towards right. Similarly, A2 will be having a component, A1 will be having its y component which is upwards. Similarly, A2's x component will be towards right and A2's y component will be downward. So there we got A1x. This is A1x. And as per the rule that is touching the angle, that will be having a magnitude that is A cos theta by 2. And A1's y component will be A1y. And as per our rules, that will be A sin theta by 2. Second, A2's x component, that will be A2x. That will be equal to A cos theta by 2, as you know, theta by 2. That is not A cos theta whole by 2, that is A cos of theta by 2. And A2's y component, A2y, will be A sine theta by 2. So the four diagrams I have drawn while explaining the component method, I have made the diagram 1 and 2 combined together. Okay, and that is the resultant diagram. I am using different colors, so you won't be having any problem. After the diagram, second stage is over, then you know, because A1 is broken down into two parts, X part and Y part. Now A1 becomes history, it is no longer there. Only its X component and Y component that do exist. Similarly, A2 has to be cast away. It is wrong if I say like this. A2 doesn't exist because we have already broken down A2 into its X and Y part. If you break down a vector into its X and Y part, so original vector no longer exists. So now the next step, we know we have to combine all the X parts and all the Y parts together to go for sigma X and sigma Y. But first of all, I request you to take the Y. We know if you combine Y parts, then A1Y, which is A sine theta by 2, that is upward. A2Y, that is A sine theta by 2, that is downward. So clearly here, Y parts, when you combine them, they will be cancelling each other. Nothing of Y will survive there. Only surviving members are two X components. One is A1X, that is A cos theta by 2. Second is A2X, that is A cos theta by 2. Both are lying on X-axis in the same direction, and the sum of them, and here sum means simple sum because we got no hassle on the issue of direction, and they form the resultant. So resultant will be automatically here, that is A cos theta by 2 into A cos theta by 2, that is 2A into cos theta by 2. That is the resultant. And you can clearly see how simply, that means how quickly we have arrived at the conclusion. And here we get visibility. Second, the resultant that comes, we know that consists of two X vectors. Both are having equal in magnitude A cos theta by 2, and resultant, we know that is 2A cos theta by 2. So here the resultant will be obviously lying on the X-axis. Okay, and X-axis was the angles bisector between the two vectors A1 and A2. Now you know the logic why I was interested in taking X-axis along the angle bisector. So now we can regroup our ideas together, and ultimately we have to remember it like this. You repeat it 5 times and then the things becomes imprinted in your mind. Two vectors of same magnitude and angle theta between them will be having a resultant which will be coming along the angles bisector, and the resultant will be of magnitude 2 into value of one of them into cos of half of angle, and resultant will be along the angles bisector. So repeat it 5 times or 10 times, then the thing will be printed. Whenever you see this case, you can use that immediately without going through all those processes and all that. Two vectors of equal magnitude and angle theta between them will be having a resultant, that is 2 into value of one of them into cos of half of angle, and the resultant will be on the angles bisector. Okay, you can extend the idea to three vectors A, and A, all the vectors having the same magnitude, angle between first and second is theta, second, third is theta, and you'll be getting a very nice conclusion. You can extend it to 4 vectors. You can extend it to n number of vectors, and then a very beautiful conclusion will be coming up. But we don't have got so much of time. Those things you can try at your leisure, and many beautiful things will be getting. And don't think if you tamper in all those ideas will be a wastage of time. No. Solving the NCERT book only or going for some questions only doesn't help you in mastering a great art, a great science that is physics. You have to understand, you have to think about. Okay, so as I told you, repeat this thing, the conclusion in your mind for 5 to 10 times, and the thing will be imprinted. And because that is simple, that is very straight, these things are required. I did intend to consider another case in the form of a question, but the video will be too lengthy. We shall consider it in the next video. So thank you for your kind cooperation. Please like it if you like, share it and subscribe. Let us end here.